Welcome, everyone. We can get this meeting going. I gave it a few extra minutes for people to trickle in. My name is Ryan Sylvia. I'm your athletic director here for the Middleborough Public Schools for Nichols Middle School and the high school. Thanks for being here tonight. We have a pretty quick program in here in the auditorium, and then we break it off into the individual team meetings throughout this building, and I'll let you know where those are going to be when we finish up. So basically, we look at this like my expectation is we want as many parents to be here as they can, because really the biggest purpose here is it's like a meet the coach night. It's a chance for you to hear a little bit from me, but really then get to break out and meet with your son or daughter's coach and kind of figure out what their individual team expectations are. Hopefully, if anyone checked their email or their social media before they came here tonight, we did have a newsletter that went out that kind of wrapped up the fall season and kicked off the winter season with all the information, or a lot of the information that I'm going to go over tonight, but a lot more detail for you to be able to review. So if you have questions after tonight, make sure you get on and review that newsletter, and then you can always reach out with questions after that too. It gets posted on Twitter. It goes to whatever email we have on file, and that newsletter is a monthly newsletter. So I'm trying to encourage everybody to make sure they're kind of going through that and all the details around it. And it also gets posted to the Facebook page. So if you're not following those already, it's a good idea to do that as well. And then the website's right there. Pretty much everything you need to know about the athletic department is on that website. Arbiter Live is linked on the website. That's what we use for our registrations software now. It used to be Family ID. Some of the icons on the website still say Family ID, but it's still familyid.com, but it goes to Arbiter Sports. That's also our scheduling system, and the state association switched to that system because it's linked directly with the officials. So the same schedules that you see on that website for Middleborough High School are the same schedules that the officials get, so that we have them assigned for each game for sports that use officials. Athletics registration, this is really just a review. The physicals has to be within 13 months. That's a law and a rule within the MIAA. The 13 months comes in because of insurance companies. You can only schedule that yearly physical once a year, so you get that extra month to do it. We try to encourage people to get those on track in the summer, so that if you get your physical in the summer, it's going to be good for the entire school year. But just stay on top of that. Family ID or Arbiter will send you a notification when it gets close to expiring, and then Mary, our athletic trainer, will also let the coaches know, so they can let the students know, to make sure that you get that on the calendar and you get that done, because you do become ineligible when the physical expires. It gets past that 13-month date, so that's important to know. You have to have that ahead of time. You can upload it to Family ID. We encourage people to do that. It makes it a lot easier for us to be able to track all that information and have it right in front of us and know that date. But if you don't want to have the ability to upload it, or you don't feel comfortable uploading it, you can always send in a hard copy as well. The baseline impact test is good for 2 years. So that's the concussion management program that we use. Basically, it gives you a baseline test in the event that your son or daughter does sustain a concussion. They need to retake that test in order to return to play. So it's return to play software, okay? So we have to have that baseline test done every 2 years. So it's usually, we don't require it at the middle school. It's usually freshmen and juniors that need it, or anybody that's transferring in new or going out for a sport for the first time. So it's like a 2-year cycle. That link gets emailed to the student athlete's school email. All right, so if they know that has expired, they need to check their school email. It comes directly from Impact, because we only get a certain number of those tests for paying for that service. So it's important that they're checking that, and that comes from Mary directly to the student athlete's email. So that does not go to parents. So just parents, make sure you're telling if you know they need that Impact test, make sure you're telling your son or daughter, make sure you're checking your email. You have to take that before you can start. Again, it doesn't apply to the middle school. And then academically eligible grades just came out. I'll actually be doing the final review on those tomorrow. We have a minimum standard that we have to meet for every student, and if the students aren't passing a certain number of their classes, then they're not eligible to participate in winter sports. All right, user fees are due on the first day of the season, so that is Monday, the 28th of November. All right, we have to have those in place. That's something that gets set in place by our business office. I understand that some sports have cuts that are made. You still have to pay that fee up front. We can refund the fee if a student does get cut or change their mind and decide not to play. Or we can apply it to another sport. So if a student maybe, say, gets cut from the basketball team but decides they want to run track or swim, we can just apply that to another sport too. So you just have to let us know if you do need a refund or if something comes up and plans change, let us know and we'll make sure you get that refund or get it switched. Intramurals, I just put that up there. Intramurals, it's only a $25 fee. That's at the middle school. And then at the in the middle school in the winter does basketball and volleyball typically. It's 2 days a week. At the high school, the intramural option is strength and conditioning in the new fitness center, and that goes Monday through Thursday. Any student that is already registered for a fall or winter sport has already paid a user fee for the winter sport. We don't ask you to pay that intramural fee again. You're allowed to register for strength and conditioning because you're already registered as a student athlete, okay, if that makes sense. So you just go on Family ID, register for strength and conditioning. You don't have to pay the additional $25. That $25 is only for students who are only there for intramurals, all right? Just threw some important dates up there. This Saturday we have the Hall of Fame induction at 5:30 at the Boston Tavern. If you want tickets for that event, you have to, that's put on by the Middleborough All Sports Boosters Association, and you have to buy tickets at the tavern in person. There's no online ticketing. There's no credit card option. You have to go to the tavern, buy your ticket. It's $30. We have the football food drive on on Thanksgiving Day. I'm trying to get the word out here. This was also in the newsletter, but if you're going to the football game, you can't use your gold cards for playoff games or Thanksgiving. So if you have the Sachem card that gets you in free to all the games, it's not valid on Thanksgiving. What you can do is grab a non-perishable food item out of the cupboard and bring it with you. One food item per person gets you in the game free, and that's for a food drive for a local food pantry for the holidays. So if you bring a non-perishable item to the football game, you get in free. Otherwise, you have to pay $5. Thursday, December 1st is MASBA meeting. They meet the first Thursday of every month, and it's at 6 o'clock in the cafeteria here at the high school, open to all families. So feel free to join and learn about our fundraising efforts. The Winter Sports Picture and Media Day is December 6th. So once the season starts, the teams are set. That second week on the Tuesday is when we're going to do all of those great pictures that Sean and his crew do. And get them up on the Smug Mug page, and that's how we generate the team photos. We will have a makeup day, but we really want everybody to make note of that day, make sure they have their uniform clean and ready to go so we can get through as many of the photos as possible and only have a few makeups for those outlying situations. The next night, the 7th, is the Fall Sports Award Night, so anyone who participated in fall sports, we're going to want them and their families here to be recognized on stage, photo opportunity, name our team award winners, and let the kids all support each other for their efforts all fall. And then way out is March 15th, the Winter Sports Awards Night, so that'll be after the winter sports season, right back here on March 15th, all right, right before the spring sports season starts. Practice schedules are going to be distributed by individual team coaches. It just got finalized today, the first week of practice, with all the game schedules. So if you go to Arbiter now, we published all of the practice times and locations for the first week only, and every game for the season. So you can see your son or daughter's first week of practice and what that looks like. After that, it's all going to be communicated through the coaches. And they'll have, we work on those practice schedules behind the scenes, but things change kind of on the fly at times, so it's really more effective if the coaches are the ones getting those practice schedules on a weekly basis to the families. We're going to expect to practice or play 5 to 6 times a week. Nichols, it's more like 4 to 5 times a week. They sometimes do not practice on Fridays, and they do not practice on weekends for the middle school. Coaches' contact information is all listed on the Middleborough Athletics website. If you just go to the coaches directory, there is at least a head coach listing for every sport. If you can't find, we don't always list the JV coach or the sub-varsity coaches, but all the middle school coaches are listed there. So if you need to get in touch with a coach, you can go there. Hopefully you'll get that information tonight. You don't have to track it down on the website. All right, drop off and pick up and parking. For MHS, we are asking for the winter season that everyone's parking over on the lot closest to the stadium, and anybody coming in and out for a game is going to come through the gym entrance, the gym lobby entrance that's facing out towards the stadium there as well. So that's where students are going to catch their buses. That's where they're going to come in after they get back from an away trip. All traffic for athletics should be coming through. So foot traffic, I mean, should be coming through the Main Street entrance and the gym lobby. So we're not crowding up the cafeteria and the other spaces in the school. We have buses provided for all away contests. We have drop-off and pick-up at MHS or Nichols Middle School to and from every game. Families are responsible for their own transportation to off-campus practice locations. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. The exception is Nichols Middle School students that are on MHS teams. So if you are a middle school track athlete or a middle school wrestling athlete, we are going to have a shuttle bus that goes from the middle school to the high school right after school, and that bus number is going to be communicated by your coach. The bus company needs to let us know which bus they're going to be riding right after school. So it's like a normal route bus that just does a one-way drops at the high school, and then families are responsible for getting the students, picking them up here at the high school. We don't go back to the middle school. All right. On the other side, if there is an indoor track meet or a wrestling meet, an away meet, the bus is going to pick up at the high school, then go to the middle school, pick up the middle school students, and then when it comes back from the meet, it's always going to come back to the high school, and that's where pickup would be. All right. Same concept applies for swimming and diving, except they have a one-way bus. They get on a different bus because that bus goes over to the elementary school complex, which is where the pool is. If it's an away meet, same thing. It'll pick up at the high school, go to the middle school, pick up the kids at the middle school, go to the meet, come back and drop off, and everybody gets picked up here at the end of the night. All right, same concept there. Just a quick slide on injuries and athletic training. Just want to emphasize the importance of injury prevention, strength and conditioning. We offer strength and conditioning year-round, all through the summer. Student athletes who aren't participating in other sports should be doing strength and conditioning all year long. That's the best way to prevent injury. Nutrition, obviously, making sure game days, practice days, it's a long season. We're indoors and we're outside in the cold often. Make sure kids are hydrated every day. Make sure they're getting something good to eat in the morning. Make sure they have a lunch packed. Nutrition is a big piece of that. Diagnosis and treatment and coach and athletic trainer coverage. So if a student athlete does sustain an injury, we really recommend that you make sure they see the athletic trainer before you just jump in the car and go to the doctor. A lot of times we see people get nervous and go straight to the emergency room or the doctor or something like that for something that maybe isn't as serious as you think it is, and then you're out for 2 weeks or longer because that's what the note says that the doctor gave you, whereas the student might be feeling better in a couple days, and with some treatment in the athletic training room we can get them back on the court or the ice or the pool or whatever it might be. The other piece to that is if you do go to the doctor for any reason, emergency room, whatever it is, that then prevents you from going back to play until we have documentation from your doctor or from the doctor that you saw that says you can return to play. All right, so that's the other piece. We see, oh, I went to the doctor. Well, where's your note? What did they say? Oh, they didn't give me anything. All right, well, then you're out because now we know that you had something wrong. You went to the doctor and we don't have documentation that you can come back to play. Same concept applies for a head or neck injury with a concussion. You have to have that return to play, that clearance from the doctor, so then we can start the return to play protocol with concussions. COVID-19, I'm going to bring it up. It's not as we don't have any strict protocols there, but if a student athlete does stay home from school or from practice or does test positive for COVID-19, we just ask that they check in with the athletic trainer. Because we do want to just make sure that there weren't any significant symptoms that could prevent them from coming back to return to play, or that their doctor is okay with them returning to play. And we just have a short form that we ask the parents to sign off on there. All right, we talked about impact testing already. Priorities of a student athlete. I've had this slide up here for a while. I think it's an important one. It's a huge commitment to participate on an athletic team, on a school-based athletic team. Health and family is your number one concern. So if there is, those are excused absences. We just ask that you let the coach know, let the school know if you are going to miss any time for anything health or family related. Academics is number two. Daily attendance is important. You cannot play if you're not in school. You cannot practice if you're not in school. And that's why we're here, is to maintain eligibility, do the best we can in the classroom, and make progress towards graduation. And then another piece with the attendance is we do have we know that there are some students that have a little bit of trouble getting to school on time, or maybe have more absences than they need. We do have a buyback program where if students get in jeopardy of missing too many school days and losing credit or tardies, they do have the ability to buy those days back if they have consecutive days in school. So we talk to the students about that. They know about it, the coaches know about it, and we can give you a little more detail on how that works if the student is in a situation where they have a lot of absences or a lot of tardies. And then team is number three. It's a commitment. We don't like to hear the students that come to us and say, oh, I can't come to practice because I have to go to work. My family's going away on a long weekend. We have a vacation. I'm going to miss 2 games. Those are things that are not excused absences, so there's going to be some kind of consequence or penalty if you're missing for things that are not excused absences. If they're not academic related and they're not real family or health issues, then those are not going to be excused absences. So clear the schedule. You have 5 to 6 days a week from now until February vacation, and the expectation is you are here every day with your team. It's a commitment to the team. All right, tickets and concessions. We sell tickets for boys and girls JV and varsity basketball games. The tickets are $5 general admission. The Sachem cards, if you don't already have a Sachem card, you can purchase one at the games. Those get you into every game at no cost, but it is $25 for the card. But we do still have those. Some wrestling tournaments and away quad matches will require an admission charge. We do not charge for our home matches for wrestling. We have concessions open for home events when MASBA is able to secure volunteers. So we usually are leaning on the parents of basketball families to be able to work the concession stand and then request that money back for whatever it might be at the end of the season. And we are open to having other teams if they do want to take some games and parents want to volunteer to work the concession stand. That is a way that you can raise money for your program, and that all goes through MASBA. Which means you would have to attend a meeting and say, hey, what can we do to raise some money for the track team, the wrestling team, whatever it might be. No food or drink in the gym, please. Trying to keep that floor nice, and so we don't have to clean up too many messes during the games. The All Sports Boosters Association, our president is Jolie Butler, our vice president is Karen Enos, our secretary is Amy Hartman, treasurer is Lisa Foley, and school rep is Sean Siciliano. That's our board. They're at every meeting on the first Thursday of every month in the cafeteria with myself and anybody else who wants to show up and help us plan these fundraising initiatives. So please join in. The more people we have there, the more support we have, the better. We've raised a ton of money in the past 5 or 6 years or so. And what that does, like all those fundraising efforts, I'm going to talk about one right now, is what helps keep our user fee low. We have one of the lowest user fees in the region. We don't up it for certain sports. It's the same user fee for every sport, for every level, with the exception of intramurals. And if we want to keep that, we keep that low, because when we do need to supplement the athletics budget, there's money there from MASBA to pay for extra coaches if we have high numbers in a certain sport, equipment or uniforms that we need to replace. Our teams usually look pretty good and our kids have what they need, and that's because of the money we raise with MASBA. So get involved. We'd love to have you at the meetings. The winter fundraiser is the same exact fundraiser as it was last winter, and we kind of have a system now where we have 3 main fundraisers throughout the year: fall, winter, and spring, and then we have a big one in a golf tournament in the first Sunday in May. But this one is really simple. We're going to give every student athlete 10 calendars and ask them to sell each calendar for $10. So basically we're trying to account to get every athlete to raise an additional $100. And then what we do is we pull a winner. So they turn in their stubs on the bottom with the name and phone number and email of the person who purchased the calendar. We pull 31 slips right when the fundraiser ends at the end of December, and we send the emails to the winners, and you can win. If your ticket gets pulled on a weekend, you win $100. If your ticket gets pulled on a weekday, you win $50 cash, and if your ticket gets pulled on the 31st, you get $500. And that's the entire fundraiser. So we're trying to get full participation there. It's crowd fundraising. The nice thing about this one, it's not through Gold Athletics, it's not through SnapRaise, it's not through any third-party fundraising effort. Every dollar that we take in for the calendars goes right to the Middleborough All Sports Boosters Association and the prize money. Last piece here is sportsmanship. This is something that I added this slide because I think it's important to talk about. And it's something that we take a lot of pride in Middleborough. Every year we have 10 teams in the league, and I think in the past 5 years we haven't gotten first place in the league in sportsmanship yet, but we're usually second or third, and that's because of the emphasis we put on it with our coaches and our student athletes. We've had no student athletes, knock on wood, disqualified from a contest in the past 6 years, and that's a huge criteria for being honored by the state for sportsmanship. And these are the items that we emphasize. We want responsible use of social media and foster a safe environment where people feel like they're included. We want to respect and tolerate good sportsmanship and positive behavior, including language related to hate or any negative gestures. We don't want to enable any student athletes who use abusive language, so we want to look out for each other and not cover up for each other. We want to seek information and assistance in dealing with yourself and fellow student athletes' negative behaviors, problems, or concerns. So reach out to a coach if you feel like there's an issue. That's what we're asking our students to do. Be open and honest with your coach and school when the best interest of your team or your fellow student athletes is jeopardized. So we're asking student athletes to be honest there. And then lastly, we want to strive to create a school without hate. And we have had little to no incidents reported within our school around this topic and sportsmanship, and that's the way we want to keep it. And it starts with conversations happening at home too about the importance of sportsmanship and respect for everybody and making everybody feel included. So I wanted to include that, and hopefully those conversations are happening on the playing surface, in the school, and at home, so we don't end up like some of these situations like we see in the news, every season. That's not where we want to be. All right, I'll open it up for questions in a minute, but just so everyone knows where they're going before you get up and move, ice hockey is going to be in a music classroom, which is, if you're going to want to go out those doors, and let me just get through everybody before you guys go. You're going to want to go out through those doors, take a left, and it's like right on the other side of that wall. Boys basketball, girls basketball, wrestling, and cheer are all going to be in the gym. There's 4 sets of bleachers with dividers. So coaches, just pick a section of the gym and make sure you get your families in those areas. If you're here for middle school basketball, go where the boys basketball or girls basketball coach goes, and then we'll just split that up within that section of bleachers. And then indoor track is going to be in the band room where you got where the cross country team just was. It's the far corner on this side, so you're going to want to go out that door. Swimming and diving is going to be upstairs in the commons. It's the student commons. I said the library. It's basically what the new library is. Majorettes are not going to be in the black box. That's full for they have the play tomorrow. So majorettes are going to be in the cafeteria. And what am I missing here? Gymnastics. If you're here for gymnastics, see me, because that meeting is in Carver. That's why I should have said that first. And then wrestling, we already said, is in the gym. Am I missing anybody? I don't think so. So if anyone has specific questions for me, I'm going to stand down here for a little bit. If not, you can disperse to your team meetings. Thanks. Have a good season.